Black Swan. Man, this character is something. She's bringing back Dot while making Kafka meta at the same time. So her banner will be out in a couple days, and we're going to talk about what to prep for her regarding her best Lightcones, Relic Sets, Teamcomps, and important Eidolons. Let's start with Black Swan's Lightcone options. Now, her signature is broken. It gives effect hit rate, attack percent, which Black Swan needs a lot of. However, the busted part is the defense ignore. If you can build all stacks, she gains a total of 40% effect hit rate, 20% attack, and 28.8% defense ignore. Now, to gain all stacks, enemies need to be inflicted with every type of dot. Oh, but what does her ult do? Oh, you know, applies every enemy on the field with every type of dot, instantly gaining all stacks. It's very worth getting, and later in the Eidolon section of this video, we will discuss which has more value, her signature or her E1. However, some alternative Lightcones can be Eyes of Prey, as it gives effect hit rate and dot damage percent. It's really important to have it at high superimpositions though. Black Swan can also use Good Night Sleep Well, Tutorial, or Luca's Lightcone, but that focuses more on teammate damage rather than her personal damage. Then finally, an extra budget Lightcone she can use is Solitary Healing from the Herta shop, but it's pretty bad. That's a last resort. Now for Black Swan's ideal relic sets, pretty straightforward. Use the prisoner set. That's it, nothing else. You should be farming this set not only for Black Swan, but for every dot character as well. It's very strong. Then for her planar ornament sets, there are a couple options. Either use Pan Cosmic or Glamoth. Use whichever ones have better substats and correct main stats, but also each one has their benefits. Pan Cosmic gives you effect hit rate and attack percent, and then Glamoth gives you damage percent. So I'd say if you're struggling to hit the recommended 120 effect hit rate, then use Pan Cosmic, but Glamoth can be farmed with the Panacani set, so it's more efficient. Overall, they're pretty equal in performance. Now the main stats. So there are a lot of variables here that can change her build, but pretty much the stats you want to build are effect hit rate, attack percent, and speed. I mentioned before about hitting a minimum 120 effect hit rate. This is because her Ascension 6, it gives damage increase based on effect hit rate, and to max that, you need 120%. So most people should run an effect hit rate body, but if you can hit 120 without it, then attack percent will be best. For the boots, she either wants attack percent if you can get enough speed substats for a minimum 134, letting her go twice in the first cycle, or speed. Then her orb. Okay, so use either wind damage or attack percent. If you're getting a lot of damage percent elsewhere, for instance Ting Yun ult giving 50% and Ruan Mei skill giving 40%, then attack percent orb will have more value, especially if you're low on attack. For instance, running EHR body, speed boots, and ER rope, you're gonna need attack. Which brings us to the rope main stats. Either energy regen rate or attack percent. So her ult lasts 2 turns. If you can't maintain 100% uptime on her ult, use ERR rope. Otherwise, attack percent makes her a lot stronger. So I already mentioned what substats to aim for, but a general goal for Black Swan is 120% effect hit rate, 134 speed minimum, then as much attack as possible. Of course, getting all those through substats and having attack percent main stats on the body, boots, and rope will give you the most damage. And I know it's possible. Someone already has it. Excellent69. Your build is broken. Like, who is this lucky? Anyways, Black Swan's team comps. So the number one premier team will of course be Ruan Mei, Kafka, Black Swan, GOOOOO. I mean, the team speaks for itself. There are a lot of synergies here, but they're all limited 5 stars. So some alternatives for Ruan Mei could be Silverwolf, Tingyun, Pela, or maybe Asta. And GOOOOO can be replaced with any other sustainer because they're all significantly worse than her in dot comps. However, a Kafka list team comp you can use is Black Swan, Sampo E6, or at least E4, Tingyun, and GOOOOO. Sampo can perform decently well at least E4 against win-weak enemies. Overall, Black Swan is a dot applier with a ton of built-in defense ignore and shred, so Kafka and buffers will be best. Finally, moving on to Black Swan's Eidolons. So her E1 is crazy strong. She reduces elemental resistance corresponding to whatever dot is applied on the enemies. For example, when Kafka applies shock, Black Swan reduces the enemy's lightning resistance by 25%. It's incredibly strong for an E1, and regarding whether or not to go for her signature or E1, her E1 provides more value, so go for it first. Then her E2 is okay. When an enemy dies, it inflicts 6 stacks of Arcana on adjacent targets. It's not great. E4 is also kind of bad. It lowers enemy effect resistance by 10% and gives Black Swan 8 energy when the enemy takes its turn or dies. So far, nothing too crazy. Then finally E6, another very strong one. Pretty much she builds Arcana stacks a lot faster, letting her stack that dot damage multiplier a lot more efficiently. Man, I'm so glad they're indirectly buffing Kafka. She's one of my favorite characters, and now that Black Swan is here, I can finally try and zero cycle with her. But goddamn, her alone and with the current dot characters just feels so underwhelming. Or, actually, it's probably my garbage stats.